of the Ancient Illumination series as well as the Bonnie Chronicles. And I am joined once again by Jordan Purnell Jackson.
Hey everybody.
He is the creator of Eve of Insurrection, Eve of Reclamation. He's a digital artist, graphic illustrator, and animator. He's also the illustrator on the Ancient Illumination graphic novels as well as Bonnie Chronicles comics. And today we are getting into the final episode of season 1 of Ahsoka. So, spoiler alerts to all of you who have not yet seen the last episode of season 1. There are rumors going around about there not being a season 2. I know they're ramping up for a movie, so we'll see. Though I think it's all gonna they're gonna do it just because.
They're gonna do. I mean, they kind of have to do it. It was so many.
I mean, they
Just
don't have to, but I'm
they
sure they will.
should. I shouldn't. They
Yeah.
should.
So this episode is kind of funny because it says just part 8. If you look at the title when you click on it, and then you get the title screen after the intro. It's the Jedi Witch and the Warlord. So I think it's a nod
I thought a
to
Chronicles of Narnia.
yeah,
The
Lion, the Witch,
the
and the
Lion.
Wardrobe.
I
So
was
that
like,
was a
come
cool
on.
little nod.
Yeah, it was.
We open up with Thrawn and his crew on the Chimera, and Morgan Elspeth gets jumped in basically to she's she's
You want the
officially
shadows?
in the Night Sisters of Dothmere, according to the Great Mothers. Um, they go through this whole spiel, flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood, all of my get down like what, and
She
asking her
seems
if she's
surprised. She seems surprised. Thrawn talking about this partnership has been beneficial or whatever, mutually
yeah,
beneficial. And then when they show when I knew when when he said that, I was like, and then Morgan Elsbeth kind of then they kind of jumped to Morgan Elsbeth, and she's kind of in the center of them. I was like, yeah, she's about to get used. And I
yeah.
was
I didn't
like,
know about that part of it. I knew they were officially kind of embracing her, but I don't think the Great Mothers knew what Thrawn was going to do with Morgan Elspeth. So because it was kind of very short lived if you think about it. So yeah, she gets jumped in. She's now a part of the Dathomir Night Sisters. They give her the Blade of Talzin. They just
has
magically
that been mentioned before in like anything?
in
Star Wars
I
books?
believe in either Clone Wars or Rebels, Mother Talzin, that was her blade that she battled Mace
Okay.
Windu in the Clone Wars with.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'm thinking because she's officially dead, so maybe there's part of her soul or something's connected to this blade that they could just conjure up.
I mean, yeah, they're witches. I mean, it was very on cue. I mean, on brand. I was like, oh, these some of them bleeds out of other dimensions. I like this.
Had a little green flame attached to
Yeah.
it, but obviously didn't really give off any heat because
Oh.
Morgan had her hands all over it. They like burned her face and made her markings more
Yeah, that
pronounced.
was. I was thinking about that. Like, I noticed like when we see the Sisters of Death, and when we see them like in other iterations of Star Wars, like the one character in Jedi Fallen Order,
Yeah,
how like their skin gets gray, and I was kind of curious why. Like, it would have been cool if Morgan Elsbeth's skin actually got like drastically paler,
yeah.
and so the kind of dark tattoos would kind of like have more contrast against her skin and just have more of an impact. But
And she
that was,
does, and her eyeballs go black. The pupils
yeah, they
actually
went
go
black
black.
and green, and then she just
Yeah,
had the little markings. I was like, okay, okay.
yeah. So we get Morgan Elspeth 2.0 that's now been jumped in as part of the gang, and
Gang, gang.
yeah, gang.
Dathomir
And
gang.
then we go and see Ezra's constructing a new lightsaber as Hu Yang kind of helps. And my notes here say, and Sabine pouts. Mainly because,
Oh goodness.
well, you can hear them kind of bickering back and forth because Ezra's going through all Hu Yang's stuff that he feels is organized and like, you have a method, you don't have a system, basically.
Hmm.
You don't even have a process.
Hmm.
And so it was kind of cool. They found the emitter that I guess the first emitter was Kanan Jarrus's emitter, and Ezra learns that his master was taught by Hu Yang. That's why he's like, "How old are you?" He's like, yeah, well, I've been training Jedi's longer than you've been alive, basically. Teach
Mm-hmm.
people how to put these lightsabers together. And it's kind of weird because Hu Yang asks who trained Ezra to build a lightsaber. Sabine answers for him. She just pops up, answers. And then
Kanan.
the dynamic between Hu Yang and Ezra seemed to change after Hu Yang learns that he had actually taught Ezra's master. So
Yeah.
then they're all of a sudden they're cool and they're
Yep.
on the ends and Sabine is on the outs, but not really. They don't say anything to her. It's just that she hears this kind of gushing praise from Hu Yang to Ezra, and she's like,
I'm
because
not good enough.
yeah, I'm not good enough. I obviously wouldn't have been good enough to be a Padawan back in the day if I were selected as a youngling into the Jedi Academy. I would have not been a good candidate. And now you're hearing Hu Yang praise Ezra for doing a good job building the lightsaber. And I can see that you were a good learner because you obviously you can do it. And I think Ezra was about to ask her if Ahsoka taught you to build a lightsaber, but
Yeah, he
he
was.
was,
She
he's
pulled
like,
the
hey,
Batman. She pulled the whole Batman was gone. Like, yo.
yeah, she
I'm
was
like,
out of there.
yikes. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I in that moment I kind of felt bad. Like, I think that like as annoying as Sabine is, I think there's some relatability with just like her not being up to a certain expectation, and
Yeah,
that she obviously feels some type of way about that.
yeah,
It was funny because I kept thinking about when I watched the scene, I'm like the words member berries popped up, and I'm like, Rod, no, and I'm like, because I thought the conversation between Hu Yang and Ezra obviously connects to me because I've watched Rebels.
yeah,
But like, if someone doesn't know about Rebels, I'm like, well, they're not gonna know who King
yeah, and that's
Homeboy is, and I'm
part of the
like,
problem.
ugh, I'm like, this doesn't really land very well. Everybody else is gonna be confused, and I kind of was like, I feel like I'm now switching sides from what I was saying at the beginning of the podcast. So I kind of was like, and there's just a lot of those moments I feel like are happening throughout the show,
Yeah,
like even with like the bombing of uh, Mandalore,
yeah,
we did see that reference in the Mandalorian.
we did.
We did. But you could have. They actually could have just played it back, just in case you didn't remember, you didn't see it. It's not hard. You could have just pulled the
Yeah,
footage from that
we
show and
do
brought it
see
in.
it, but at that time, remember, we're not given the context of Sabine's family being there because we don't
Yeah.
even see Sabine in the Mandalorian. We don't see them in the book of Boba Fett either. So
Right.
in this show, it's the first live action that we get of Sabine. So that connection for a lot of people may not have been made. Although you can assume because she's Mandalorian and we have
Mhm.
the Night of a Thousand Tears and the planetary bombardment of Mandalore, that of course, if her family was present, then they're donezo. They're gone.
Mhm.
But maybe not because we do find out later that there were people that survived on the surface of Mandalore.
Yes, if you watch
Oh,
that, if you caught that season of Mandalorian.
yeah. The more interesting part about this conversation that you mentioned between Ezra and Hu Yang is we find out basically why Ahsoka left her. And it wasn't because she wasn't good enough. She felt that she was a danger, I believe, to
Mhm.
falling to the dark side after losing
Yep.
her family. And then feeling like, oh, you're not training to be a Jedi for the right reasons. You're wholly on a revenge mission and trying
Mhm.
to improve your toolkit, basically. Instead of all your Mandalore skills, you want these Jedi skills because you can go kill the people that killed your fam.
Mhm.
That's what Ahsoka was worried about. And knowing her proximity to Anakin and her finding out, I guess either in Clone Wars or Rebels, that Anakin was Vader.
Mhm.
So maybe she's trying to avoid repeating that cycle,
Yeah, which is
knowing
interesting.
how the loss of his family or his mother's, more specifically, could have been the catalyst to him turning to the dark side and Palpatine being able to use that.
Mhm.
So that was a cool uh, insight. And also, we know about now that Sabina is actually force sensitive, and there's more context to that. But this
Mhm.
next part annoyed me so
What
much.
part? What part?
When she steps away after the conversation with Hu Yang and Ezra, she steps out and you can see Ahsoka on top of the ship just chilling, and them starting to basically finally hash out all the stuff that Sabine is messed up inadvertently, but kind of giving kudos to Ahsoka from Ahsoka about her basically, yeah, well, you did it. You got back to Ezra and we're able to send him home. And she goes, so you know? Like, yeah, I know. She's a Jedi. She's known the whole time. I was annoyed that Ahsoka wasn't mad when Sabine said, so you're not mad. And so she's like, basically, I've made dumb decisions before, so I'm gonna understand when you make dumb decisions and still stand by you. And she changes the subject and asks if Sabine has been training, and this to me was a nod to Yoda, inadvertently through Sabine,
Try.
because she says, "I try," and then she catches herself and she goes, "I do, I do,"
Yep.
and then I remembered, "Do or do not."
Yep.
There's no try.
I remember
So
that.
like
I was
she switched it up to saying I try to, I do. So that was cool. And then I think Ezra comes out with his lightsaber trying to plan some stuff, and they see the TIE fighters come because Thrawn has sent these 2 TIE fighters after he's found out they know where the Jedi are. And I don't know what it is. It's not just the stormtroopers that got bad aim, but I'm assuming they're trying to shoot the T6 ship, Hu Yang ship, but they're clearly hitting the crab people, the Nazi, they're hitting
below them, that big ship.
And then my notes, I say, in true Sabine fashion, she wins the day. Basically, they stop the ship from crashing, and kind of Ezra and Ahsoka hold the ship up, and then she kind of force pushes the ship as Sabine gives this last effort boost after doing something with the engines. And Hu Yang's like, that's not
messes up the ship.
So she takes out both of the TIE fighters and then strands the ship in the process.
Did you see how she walked off? Like
she walked off like she did. Like that was
like, I did it. So
like, yep. She did
like I
did
it.
And put her hands on her hips.
I'm like, I mean, it wasn't the coolest thing that you could have done. I mean, you strangled your ship. But I mean, it was cool to see you knock out 2 TIE fighters, because I was like, can people do that in Star Wars? You just ram into other TIE fighters. Must be very weak. They must not have much.
Well, they are, and they're one of the ships that don't have shields.
Oh, so you can just do that.
Yeah.
You can just throw another ship at some TIE
but
fighters.
The T6 does, and we know the T6 does have shields, but I don't understand why it wasn't more. Yeah, I don't know whether they were active, and I don't know why they didn't take more damage. The fact that they were like, you collided with the ship, but something collided with yours simultaneously.
That's what I was thinking.
But they were damaged to the point where they had to go down, obviously. And I feel like Hu Yang's like the forever babysitter, or having to clean up after the messes of Sabine and all the other little young Jedi before her. So yeah. So Thrawn decides that they're going to attack while the Jedi ship is down. And we have the night trooper skirmish, which was kind of cool. So since they can't go by ship, they take a little weird howler wolf dog things. And I found this really funny when Ahsoka is like, Sabine, help out, when they're using the Force to open the doors. And mind you, we haven't really seen her successfully use the Force right now, which these next sequences kind of were weird to me, with the leaps of confidence this woman has. When we're like 2 or 3 episodes removed from her squinting at a coffee table trying to move a teacup, and nothing budged.
Nothing happened. But on this last episode, she had all the power. She had the everything was there, and I was like, this isn't believable. I'm sorry, but I'm not. I felt like I was just there for the ride.
Yeah.
Literally, as they're riding through the barrage of like hellfire from the Star Cruiser.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that scene was cool.
That wasn't hellfire yet. I think that comes later.
Oh, it does come later. But I mean, they were just raining bombardments.
Turbo lasers. Yeah, they were using
turbo lasers. And I'm like, that scene was cool, like just like the special effects, all that stuff was nice. But I'm like, so is Sabine really helping with this door? Because I don't
Yeah.
believe it. I don't believe. I'm not.
At
I'm
first,
not
I didn't
believing.
see Ahsoka putting her. Ahsoka, I guess, was the
She put
first
her.
one,
Yeah, she was the first one,
but I
and
didn't
then
see that
like,
at first. So
yeah.
I was like, when you turn around and talk about help out, I'm like, what you doing? You help out. You got more force powers than Sabine does. What do you? You and Ezra should be good. It was a cool scene before this where they're preparing and throwing them, and specifically, and I guess we get a set of volunteer night troopers that are going to go with Morgan and
Mhm.
Thrawn asks, basically, have they been made aware of the consequences? I didn't even think about what was going to happen. I just thought,
Oh, he did say. I didn't realize that they had
I was
sacrificed
just
him.
thinking maybe that he knew that they were leaving and they could, like, y'all might either die or be stranded here. So make sure that they're aware that this might be the last mission. But I don't think that's what he was asking if they were aware of. That is, for better or worse, a soldier's life. They know that could always happen.
Mhm.
I think he was asking if they were made aware that they would kind of be resurrected through Night Sister
Mm,
magic when they fell. And to
mm,
that, perhaps, they had to accept or
mhm.
acquiesce, verbally to that prospect before it would actually work. And so, yeah, they go down and start shoot. I was kind of happy because I see like Sabine finally has her damn helmet on.
You're like, yes, Sabine, keep
Like,
that helmet on.
you're supposed to have this. Like, why do you have this and not use it
Mhm.
half the time? This is like Book of Boba Fett all over again. He's got the helmet. He's always carrying the crap under his shoulder. So yeah, they have the night trooper, excuse me, skirmish at the base of the fortress. And this was a cool scene because you see like all three of them using their lightsabers
Yeah, it was
simultaneously,
nice.
deflecting blaster bolts. Even you see Sabine deflect a few, but it's obvious that she's not as skilled as the other two. So you see
Mhm.
Ahsoka like Sabine, blasters. Like,
You on blasters. You got also because I think that's what makes their trio like a very interesting like makes them interesting because I felt like Sabine was actually more effective being the blaster person. Like you have more range. You can take out more people a little bit faster. You don't have to
yeah.
go in for close combat.
And you're right, because my next note does say rain hellfire upon them. And that's when, I guess that's probably when they were approaching the fortress. And they're fighting the night troopers initially before they're resurrected. Again, spoiler alert if you haven't watched the last episode. And I know this is PG-13, but why not dismember the stormtroopers? Um, Especially, okay, I could see
What?
the first time them being like, okay, we're not doing it because we think they're normal stormtroopers. We've killed them with blaster bolts and lightsaber slashes. But then when you see them, the undead troopers get back up
The green eyes.
and you're still fighting them the same way. Like you're still just shooting like, no, lop heads off. And they do, Ezra and
I mean, at the
Sabine do
end,
later.
at the
But
end,
I'm like, the whole crew should have been just dicing these fools up. And like, you can't get up if you're in pieces. You know what I mean? Like the
he should have
arm is
been
so,
taking off arms.
yeah.
That would have been nice. And that was giving zombie movie vibes. Like we're gonna do dumb stuff first and not kill them the way that not no headshot. Like we're just gonna
Yeah.
be like, no, we're just gonna fight them normally and run away, and then we're gonna do a build up to when we get headshots
Yeah,
and
my
lopping
thing
off.
is if you're gonna go that far with the zombie stuff, you might as well go ahead and let them dismember the zombies. It's not
I mean, I would have go.
like
I
if
would
you're a
go
little
straight
kid and you see zombie with half the helmet shot off and the corpse mouth out the bottom,
to
is that more or less traumatic than seeing someone's arm and head sliced off with a lightsaber? And they don't. It's not going to show any blood because it's
I mean, it's
automatically
also serrated. So I mean, it's is it cauterized? It's
cauterized. Yeah, it's going to be
cauterized. So
cauterized,
it's
so there's no
like there's no
leakage
blood. Just
after.
cut them off. Just
Yeah.
dismember people. It happens.
The next part is hilarious to me as Thrawn realizes the Jedi are fast approaching. And it's not the real, my note says the realization on Morgan's face at the line, we require a little more time.
She's
Because
like,
you
wait, what?
basically, well,
You're
not
not
only
getting
that,
on
you
the
see the
ship. You're not
line.
getting on the ship.
If you watch that part, Thrawn kind of pauses. Like he he's going to say something, he stops, and then he's like, we require a little more time. In other words, he's letting her fill in the blanks, like,
He's like,
y'all getting left.
y'all
And
not
we gonna need you to run interference while we, and I'm like, sorry about it, but you're gonna have to stay. And they're still fighting. She goes out, and you see Ahsoka v. Morgan round 2 fight. With now we got this Morgan 2.0, and they're fighting each other. And she's going off with the blade of Talzin. I'm surprised though that she let Ezra and Sabine behind her to go to the door and stops to fight Ahsoka. If the plan is to hold them all off, it's like you're only holding off 1/3 of the crew. You letting the other
she
two.
Couldn't fight all 3 of them. I mean, I don't.
No, but at least you would make some attempt at stopping them. You know what I'm saying? Or
yeah.
Because she did delay enough with Ahsoka fighting for the Death Troopers to catch up later on. Mm-hmm. And that was another thing that didn't make any sense. Then you see them in the other chamber, Ezra and Sabine fighting the real Death Troopers.
Yeah, they get to the top of the top of the chamber.
Yeah,
that was
a cool fight scene.
See, that's the one you like. You're like, now we're talking. I was surprised. I was laughing at the fact that like when Sabine's fighting one of the Death Troopers, and he like forcibly like he starts choking her, takes the helmet off,
before that, the funny part was when she got clotheslined running from
boop.
He straight clotheslined her, and the other Death Trooper takes the lightsaber to the chest with Ezra just stares at him until he punches him in the face. Like, what are you looking at, homie? If the stab didn't get it done, you need to keep stabbing her, take it out and keep slicing. He just dumbly looking him in the face and gets socked. That was hilarious. And yeah, she's being held up on the pillar. He's doing this choke, and she's now squinting, trying to use the Force again to grab the. I didn't understand why. What do zombies do?
They eat
the bottom half of his mask is shot off.
They eat people. Wait, what do you? Yeah.
Wouldn't the zombie just bite you? She got this little hand just dangling right next to his mouth, and she's doing this.
So I was thinking about that too. So I know we're in the Star Wars universe. I was like, are they being like, because they're being controlled by magic and necromancy? Yeah. We're so used to seeing in zombie movies that these are zombies, their intention is to eat you and kill you.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I had to like put that away for a second, because I realized I was like, because they're using Dathomir magic, they're being programmed to simply just kill them. So it's not really the conventional, we're gonna bite you, but it's like, I'm trying to kill you, hence the choke out. And so, that was wild. What did you pick? What is that? What is? Wait a second. Tell me about.
Yeah, it's a book.
Zombies.
Yeah.
So how do they do it in the book?
That's what I'm saying. Like, they should have just. I was waiting on him to just bite her in the hand, and she's sitting here wiggling her fingers trying to use the Force. And she calls the lightsaber to her hand, and then hits him in the head.
She does the illegal move. She does the illegal Jedi move. She turns it on, turns it off. Yeah. I was like, nice.
And so my note says Sabine uses the Force, and then I go, this is a ballsy plan for someone who just confirmed Force abilities. Now you just barely called your lightsaber, and now your next thing is, how about you jump across this chasm?
Yeah, that was
and then I'm gonna Force push you the rest of the way. And then you can pull me. And I'm like, where is this confidence coming from? We have this scene before when just after they shut the undead troopers away, and Ezra and her go back and forth. And he's like, nice moves. And she goes, so what's your excuse? And he goes, I miss you. And that was kind of a weird exchange to me. But I'm wondering if Ezra being in danger is the thing that kind of enhances her ability to tap into the Force. Because when it's just her by herself, she's trying to do something.
The emotional connection.
It hasn't worked. And the fact that you know that she is, she's a descendant, I think, of Tar Vizsla, the first the only Mandalorian Jedi. So there may be some present. I think
it's a race situation all over again.
Yeah, I think she may be a descendant of Tar Vizsla, which would mean that okay, so maybe there is some latent force ability in her that's just deep down, and she's never really tapped into it. So yeah, they catch up. The Death Troopers catch up to Ahsoka and Morgan. Why do the Death Troopers stop? Like they're battling, they catch up after
they pulled up and started shooting at her.
No. They didn't though. At first, it's just like they're letting them get their
let them fight.
Yeah, they're letting them catch.
Let them fight.
It's like an honor battle. They let them catch. Yeah, they're catching their ones. Let's get this one-on-one battle going, and until Sabine pops back up, they basically watch. They stand off and watch them fight. And it's not until she makes the threat, like you're gonna die here alone, and Sabine pops back up. She obviously
like that.
You're not alone, and then she jumps down. When she jumps in, Morgan screams, "Kill her!" And I'm wondering if it's jealousy because she gets to keep their partnership together when basically hers and Thrawn's are now torn asunder because Thrawn's leaving her behind. And then my next note says, "Easy come, easy go," because we just got this Morgan 2.0. She got her new Night Sister powers, a new cool blade of Talzane. She actually destroys Ahsoka's Shoto, the shorter blade of the two lightsabers, but then ends up getting her sword snatched from her and getting slashed with both lightsaber and blade of Talzane.
That was fire. I love that. It was smooth. Yeah. I mean, that's what happened. She deflected. She parried.
Yeah.
Blade hit the ground. She
grabs it, forces the blade into the ground, stands up after disarming her, and then circles with this double slash.
I was like, nice, Ahsoka, nice.
Yeah. And then it's Huyang to the rescue because it was kind of funny and cheesy at the same time. She's like, "You ready to get out of here?" She's like, I'm right with you.
Let's go.
And they jump off the cliff, and of course the ship is there with Huyang to save them, and the chase is on. And
remember Thrawn? Now Thrawn just raining bombardment again. He destroyed the tower, which was like, dang.
Yes, but did you peep? No. The reason I'm tripping, did you peep the Night Sister? One of the Great Mothers looked at him when he said, the Great Mother that's on the bridge on the Chimera with Thrawn. Yeah, when he says to open fire on their like this is their ancestral home.
Exactly.
She turns and looks at him like, "This ain't cool. What you doing?" Like,
right. I saw that look. I was like, "Oh, he said, I don't care about your home. I don't care about this blowing it up."
And that I think goes more to my theory previously when we were talking about. I don't think the Night Sisters are going to stay under his control once they get to Dathomir. They do reach Dathomir at the end of this episode. They chase Thrawn until before he jumps into hyperspace. He has to have a little speech and claims to know. He basically claims to know Ahsoka because he knew her master. I know your strategy because he knew Anakin.
Come on, bro. That was a night. This is what you talked about. This is the strategy. This is no, it's not. This is the strategy. This is the strategic man you wanted known as Thrawn. I know your master, so I know you.
That, but this still wasn't to that level. Basically, he has to be one step ahead, and he really wasn't that far ahead because they almost get on, and obviously one of them make it onto the ship. Ezra, of course, makes it onto the Chimera and makes the jump back. And I think from the speech that he gives Ahsoka when he talks about how alike Ahsoka is to Anakin, and he wonders, how alike they are actually. And I think he may feel that he's actually doing the galaxy a favor by stranding her there because Ahsoka then doesn't get a chance to turn into a Sith Lord and terrorize the old galaxy like Anakin did. Because he's assuming that that's going to happen. The way he's like, for a Ronin such as yourself, maybe your place is best to be here. And so nonchalantly, I guess because they have no choice really, Ahsoka and Sabine travel back to the Na'vi, the little crab people, and start just chilling with them.
That's home now. That's all they.
Yeah.
That's what they got. They'll be fine.
And then Shin Hati goes to the. I guess that she's going to lead the bandits now. She raises her orange lightsaber and salute to them. They look up like they don't know what the hell's going on.
We're like, who are you? Who's
Yeah.
the Padawan?
And then we see Balin Skull finds these giant statues of the Mortis gods
And we've
with
seen
the
them, yes.
daughter's head. Looks like it's eroded or been cut off.
Yeah, we didn't see it, but we
three-
saw the father and the brother.
Yeah, and
I
then
was
the
happy
daughter,
about that.
the daughter's head is the daughter's body is there.
Mhm.
There's a split. There's a gap between the two,
Yep.
between the father and the daughter. But you can see that there's another body right there. So I don't know what that's supposed to symbolize. But you see the peak of the mountain as Balin is staring off. There's another like pyramid-shaped ziggurat atop of mountain, and there's a intermittent flashing of a vertical light that's there that he sees. So he's going off there. And then the Chimera arrives at Dathomir. We just see
that red planet.
The red planet, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see Ezra. I don't understand why they let him on.
What do you mean? He killed the one guy, and then he act like he was him. I mean, I don't understand.
I understand that, but he's also using the old school Jedi shuttle that Balin Skull was using. That in the very first...
why would the Republic even let him on that? That's true. They should not. I said the same thing. I was like, wait, what is this?
Yeah, the very first episode of Ahsoka, that's when Balin and Shin Hati are aboard. They're like, this is a Jedi shuttle. It's almost like a mirror of Return of the Jedi. Like they've got a clearance code. It's old, but it checks out, and they let them aboard. And we know what happened after that. So I'm like, this same Jedi shuttle shows up out of the blue, and y'all let it back. Like there's no record of what happened. Obviously, they know what happened because the senator and then with Mon Mothma, we're talking about what happened, the incident. This should be funny. I hope we get a season 2. And I think it's going to be hilarious to see what the senator has to say that was trying to shoot Hera down and take her command and all that. Like, oh, I was making it up, huh? Well, here's Ezra. Don't know if you know, but there's been a super star destroyer, aka the Chimera, showed up around Dathomir. Apparently, Thrawn's on it. Don't know if you heard of him.
Thrawn's back. You know about that guy?
Yeah, apparently he thought I was making all this up. Remember fake Jedi, space whales. It all sounds like nonsense, right? Well, guess what? He's back. And I told you he was coming back. What you got to say now? That should be real funny. And the fact that Ezra will actually be there to be a witness for her the next time they hold some little tribunal or whatever they're going to do. Cool to see where they go with this, either in the movie or in another season, if they incorporate. What we didn't mention, I know you probably haven't played it, but Jedi Survivor, the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, I beat the game.
You know that there's the mixed style of using the blaster and the lightsaber simultaneously. It looked like Sabine was
She was doing it. She was holding on with that. I was like, all right. Oh, you doing
I think we're going to see a schism between Thrawn and the Night Sisters.
Yeah, he did them dirty.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
and because they keep mentioning that they were asleep.
That's kind of funny. He pulled up on that plane. He was like, "Wake up! I need to get out of here. Help me get out of here."
Yeah, well, I'm thinking perhaps because that was supposed to be like their ancestral home before they got to Dathomir. So perhaps
that's ultimate disrespect. Jesus.
Remember, maybe they stole their powers from the Immortus gods, and as punishment, they put them all to sleep. So maybe those aren't caskets with dead bodies, and maybe they're all like sleeping Night Sisters that he plans to use as his army when they get.
That's what I know he's going. I have a feeling he's going to do something like that. He's just going to be like, "Yeah, I got my army. We're going to take over the gap. We're gonna break down the New Republic."
You think we're going to get Cal Kestis and his Dathomiri companion in the
that would be really
they're cameo monsters.
They better do it. I need them to do it. I mean, they gave us a lot of other. They always want to give us cameos. Oh yeah, we didn't see. Zeb was in. What was Zeb in? We saw Zeb.
Zeb was in right? Either the Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett. He was in the.
We was gonna see him.
Yeah, he was in that base camp. He's training recruits. And I think at one point see him in fighter pilot garb in that bar.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I was like, wait,
Yeah,
I was hoping we just saw Zeb again, but it's all good.
yeah. So Zeb, we know they're gonna get them back together.
Of
Zeb,
course.
Zeb is training folks. We got Hera back now. Ezra is
I
back.
was happy about that reunion. Actually, I know nobody else got it, but if you didn't watch Rebels, you didn't get it. But it was kind of like I actually cared. I was like, oh, this is actually nice that like y'all have a little fan reunion. Like this, I feel these emotions,
Yeah.
despite Hera not being interesting this entire series. Like that actress playing Hera was just not the best, but that moment, I was like, okay.
Yeah. And then after all the other stuff we just discussed, we see Ahsoka and Sabine having their
Yeah.
conversation and her stopping to look at something real quick. Oh, what was that? Oh, it was just a shadow in the clouds. And then we see Anakin's Force Ghost. And we've
Yeah, the
already,
Force goes.
yeah. And we've already seen Morai, the owl that was there too as well. You see
There was an
Ahsoka.
owl.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if that's going to be their way back, if they can somehow get back to a world between worlds somehow via the owl, because the owl was basically a totem of the daughter, the light
Yep.
side of the force, which is actually imbued into Ahsoka when she died. So she's technically the daughter now, I guess.
Mm.
Um, wouldn't it be weird if they formed some weird triumvirate there because the Immortus God statues and that whatever that pyramid thing is there, and they use that to go back? I'm assuming that's how, because
Oh,
they're
wow.
not going to call the Purgle again. I don't think they're going.
They're not coming back. They're not.
Yeah, after
Those
getting
the
bombed on,
Space
they're like,
Whale's like, nah, we not doing this again. That was the setup the last time.
we're
We're
not
not
we're
falling
not
for
coming
this.
here till we have to die and be a part of the graveyard and
Yeah, we're
the
not.
ring around the planet. But
Yeah, that's a no go.
yeah,
But
so I mean,
it was
I
nice.
was
It was nice to see Force Ghosts. Force Ghosts. You know, every Star Wars
really,
movie's got it. Rod, why you acting like this? Come on now.
because it's
They gotta find
unnecessary
a way. They gotta find a way to put a Force Ghost in there somewhere.
but they really don't. Like,
I mean, it's a part of the
they've
brand.
already given her. You think about the episodes before, they already gave her closure with Anakin, and now we're trying to seek the closure between Sabine and Ahsoka, and maybe forging that master Padawan relationship now. But we already had the closure with Anakin. We don't need to see him cheesing it
But
up as a Force ghost.
he's smiling on their master and Padawan relationship, the one between Ahsoka and Sabine. I think he wants to see them grow and evolve and become a good unit there.
I
That's
mean, and
all
the
that
only
was
time
for
we've
me.
really seen that at the end of a thing is Return of the Jedi.
Didn't they give it? No, they gave us another Force Ghost, and I was here. Didn't they give us another Force Ghost
I'm talking about at the
scene?
very end, like
Yeah, it was.
when it cuts and it ends.
It was Return of the Jedi. Oh no, I'm remembering the remastered version where they actually just. Oh my god, they put in Anakin
They
Skywalker.
put in young Anakin instead of
I was
OG
like,
like
what?
the original. Yeah,
I was like, what's going on? But yeah, so come on now, that's on brand. I know you don't
and
like it. It's what it is. It's
yeah.
to be expected in this universe at this point in that universe. Um, but like, how would you rate this series, this season, first season?
It's still, I think, about a 7 for me. Like, it's not bad, and I
Literally
enjoyed
what
a
I was
lot of
thinking.
it. A lot of the fight scenes, a lot of the cinematography, all the action scenes, I pretty much liked. Most of my gripes came with characterizations, more so with one character, but in general, it was just there was just some dumb stuff, which I think every show pretty much has, but it didn't get to me to the point where I wasn't enjoying what I watched. It
Mhm.
just made me pause sometimes and be like, "What? Why did they do that?" How about you?
I'm gonna put it at a solid 7, just because um, I feel like the season finale, like the conclusion, like I enjoyed the journey at points, like the journey to getting to the last episode. What we got to see, great fight scenes, as you said, cinematography. Um, but something about the season finale didn't feel. I don't know. It kind of felt rushed. Like They kind of left a lot of things. Um, they didn't tie up those loose ends, and that's kind of fine because you need to have a second season. But still, it's like, you had us going on this journey of finding Thrawn. Balin talking about trying to get more power. Like it's just like you're juggling these things, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you're
It's still
obviously
like
gonna.
multiple cliffhangers.
Yeah, it's like you giving me two at this point. So I'm kind of like, what am I supposed to like? This is a lot. Not that it's not very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like I'm fine with one big cliffhanger. That's the point. But now you're just leaving me
You got like
two.
5 or 6 cliffhangers.
Yeah. We
We done basically had Ezra and Sabine and Ahsoka switch
right.
places.
Yeah.
They're stranded. Now you've got Shin Hati and Balin Skull on 2 different agendas in the same planet, but they've split ways.
They just doing too much. Now this is get now the more I'm talking about it's irritating me because it reminds me of like the Star Wars, the newer Star Wars films that
Yeah.
were like they were trying to like have too many plot points and subplots, and it was like really annoying to watch as a as a fan of the series. Like I just want to stick with I want to stick with these characters, and I don't want you to try to like you're clearly trying to do too much. Like stop it. So I felt like this show kind of suffered because they kind of left those they didn't wrap up everything.
Yeah. And I think they
But
baited us for a lot of things. I
yeah,
think
but they did do it. Like I personally enjoyed the the character development, the arc for Ahsoka and Sabine's relationship. I
mhm.
think that it is very interesting that like Sabine is constantly messing up, but it takes her to the last episode to be like, to be like, I'm gonna embrace my master because this is the whole thing she was battling with the entire time, and she chooses
Yeah.
her master, which was a beautiful thing. Um, and I think that was necessary. Um, I did. It's ironic because I was talking to my dad about this. I would have been. I would have really enjoyed this show if they killed Sabine. Like
Damn.
that would have been messed up. I'd have been like, oh. But
Man.
I'm like, nah, save it for the. I mean, now they can't kill her because she's like, I guess she's redeemed herself. But um, yeah, it was the season finale could have been. I feel like it could have been better, but
This
um,
felt like they spin-off baited us. Like from like how you know how Game of Thrones ended, and then all of a sudden they were saying that Jon Snow was going to get a spin-off,
yeah,
Arya Stark was going to get a
they was
spin-off.
doing a lot with
And it
that.
was
Yeah.
like Bran is going to get a spin-off. Like, why are we? Like, it seems like that's what they're doing. Like, okay, if you want, we got a series coming up where we get to. Obviously, we're not going to get to follow Balin Skull because the Ray Stevenson passed.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why Shin Hati didn't try and make her way back to the Chimera, and she decided to just go with these ragtag band of bandits in the red armor on this way out planet. She's decided I'm gonna go there and these will be my people and I'll lead them. When unless Balin didn't read her right, she's supposed to be super ambitious, and this doesn't seem like anything to be king or queen of in this place where everybody the main mission for everybody is to get off this planet and get back to the main galaxy. She's gonna stay here and just have her little fiefdom on this planet while everybody else leaves. I mean, we don't know what else is there, but at least from what we've seen, I don't know what she's going to do there, what
Right.
purpose that's going to serve,
Yeah. I
unless they're
mean,
going to rein her in and she's going to eventually circle back and take Ahsoka up on her offer and be trained with her somehow. They're going to break the rules. She's going to get 2 Padawans, basically have that would be funny only for the comedic clash between Shin Hati and
oh,
Sabine.
that would be great to watch. Be like, you killed me. I'm like, I remember that. I'm gonna get better though.
Yeah. Remember, I whooped you the first couple times we sparred. I don't know why you want to do this. We're gonna do this for real now. You just want to play, you know? Remember that time I stabbed you in the chest?
You I saw you die. He was on the ground. I got you.
Yeah,
Got
that like I don't know if that's the direction they're gonna go. I believe they're gonna try. They have to bring her back. They have to bring Ahsoka back to the main galaxy.
I mean,
With
they gotta handle the. I mean, the one thing I do see is like a redeeming factor is that at least we know in season if they were to do a season two, they could tell a story of like Ahsoka and Sabine training. The normal stuff we see, and them trying to stop. Balin, but they obviously would have to recast him if they were going
Yeah.
to take that approach. But I mean, that is still open because that loose end was never tied up. So it's like you could tell that story, and
Yeah.
then we can jump back to Thrawn, I guess, just
Well,
wrecking shop
they
across.
gotta recast Balin Skull because
Yeah,
Ray's no longer with us. So that unless they're gonna do some weird AI CGI stuff.
they don't got to do that. They can find a white guy. It's
Yeah.
not going to be hard. But rest in peace to Ray Stevens because he was great actor.
Yeah.
That's a really good role.
Well, yeah. So that's it. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day
No
to
problem.
chop it up with me about these things. I see we got one lurker that's been watching the live stream. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to us chop it up. Don't forget to go to toughwraps.com to get your wrist wraps, weight belt, t-shirts, and etc. And code is Jack's Writer for a 10% discount if you want to help the stream out, help the podcast out. We'd appreciate it. And also, there'll be links in the description of this episode when I put the audio up of both my author website and Jordan's Shopify website if you're interested in his art or any of my books. And I guess we will talk to y'all next week sometime, maybe, or maybe the week after. I think next week is New York.
You got to do New York Comic Con, man.
New York Comic Con.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you. Craziness. We will see you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.